My name is Laura Perna. I'm a professor at the University of Pennsylvania and immediate past president of the Association for the Study of Higher Education. I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about Ashe's recent initiative, Connecting Research to Policy and Practice. This initiative was funded by the William T. Grant Foundation and began in September 2014. Ashe is a scholarly association with about 2,000 members. The members of Ashe span all career stages, running from graduate students to senior scholars. And Ashe members are dedicated to this idea of producing high-quality research on important issues. I've been a member of Ashe since the mid-1990s when I was a doctoral student, and Ashe has been a really wonderful home for me intellectually. One of the conversations that's been going on with Ashe for as long as I can remember is around this issue of how we as researchers can connect the work that we're doing to improve policy and practice. There's a perception that research is disconnected from policy and practice. Researchers often feel that the work that we're doing isn't used by policymakers and practitioners, and policymakers and practitioners may feel like the research that we do isn't really relevant to the work that they're trying to address. When I became president of Ashe, one of the things I wanted to do was try to figure out, is there a way that we can do more than just talk about the importance of bridging these gaps, but try to figure out a mechanism to try to build these connections in a meaningful type of way. The idea that I tried to explore here was to establish collaborations between Ashe members and members of what are called intermediary organizations. Intermediary organizations are organizations that are designed to, in a sense, bridge research and practice and really provide research-based recommendations to practitioners, policymakers, and a whole host of different parts of higher education. So the mechanism that I tried to advance when I was president of Ashe was this idea of establishing collaborations between Ashe members and members of intermediary organizations. So there are 5 collaborations we set up. One is with the Council on Independent Colleges, the second with the National Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators, NASFA, the International Educators Organization, the Pell Institute for the Study of Opportunity in Higher Education, and WICHE, the Western Interstate Commission on Higher Education. So the 2 primary goals of these collaborations were first to advance the production of high-quality research that really could be used to improve policy and practice. And the second goal was to establish meaningful linkages and connections. So there are many reasons why historically, or in fact, we have these disconnects or real and perceived disconnects between research and policy and practice. One of the reasons I think has to do with the fact that we don't really have many opportunities to interact with each other. So researchers often are attending conferences just with researchers, policymakers and practitioners, or members of intermediary organizations are attending different types of events. But really to understand the types of research that are needed to improve policy and practice, we have to be able to talk with each other and learn our different needs and perspectives and come to a better understanding of what the problems are that need to be addressed and what we know from research about how to productively address those problems. So the collaborations began in September 2014. We've been meeting, I met with the heads of each of these collaborations monthly by telephone and had a number of conversations over time. I'm so grateful to the efforts of the chairs of these collaborations. They've really invested really terrific intellectual leadership and time and energy in making these collaborations happen. One of the deliverables for the collaborations was a presidential session at the Ashe conference. So each of the collaborations had a presidential session at the November 2015 conference. And basically the charge was to figure out a way to work together over the course of a little bit more than a year to come to some sort of shared understanding. So what would be a research agenda that would be productive from the perspective of researchers and the members of the intermediary organization? What are some ways that we can better work together to try to achieve shared goals? And what might be accomplished through better collaboration and connections with each other? It's been really terrific to see what's come out of these collaborations. There's some tangible products, an edited book, a special issue of a journal, white papers, but there are also, I think, lasting relationships that are in place. As I continue to talk to the heads of these collaborations, it's been really exciting to hear how people are continuing to work together even 6 months past the November 2015 conference. I think there have been several lessons that have been learned from this work. One has to do with just the value of establishing these relationships. Related to that is the time and energy that really is required to develop productive relationships. So it takes time to develop trust, to develop a shared understanding of what it is we want to know and why we want to know it. I think another lesson is the importance of how we think about the connections between research and policy and practice. Often we've thought about connecting research to policy and practice, sort of a one-way type of street, but really I think these relationships are most productive when we think about the and. So we're really trying to develop shared understandings together, connecting research and policy and practice.